So this is one of those Tallman from the Future segments to start this video off, because I'm in the editing bay and I realized I didn't actually talk about the deck that I built for this. I just kind of hopped into a game and did it first try. But this is the deck I built for the Multicaster achievement that lets you draw a card for each different spell school you've cost this game. And the second level of the achievement is to draw 5 cards from this. And I've looked and I've looked, and I'm pretty sure, barring any priest or rogue shenanigans of finding different spell schools from different classes, that this is impossible in standard at the moment. Now, with all the Frost stuff coming in during the next set, I think it will be possible. But as of right now, I think it's impossible to do this in standard. You can probably do it in duels, but I had a rough time finding a reliable list that worked. So I went to Wild, good old Wild, and I built a Galakrond list for Shaman because I think Shaman has the best suite of spell schools to deal with. Obviously, there's a ton of nature and some good old Frost stuff. Not too much, though we do have Frost Shock and, if I can find it, Invocation of Frost. Good old Galakrond spell, which tends to be one of the more defensive decks until it isn't. So I loaded it up with a couple of the Galakrond cards. For the other spell schools, we have a couple arcane spells thanks to the Scalomance Shaman Mage dual class stuff. Devolving Missiles, and I think, I want to say the Studies card that lets you find a spell damage minion. I think that's an arcane spell as well. Yeah, Primordial Studies. I figured that Devolving Missiles was better to get this done in Wild, because it's a bit of a more defensive card. Additionally, so what is that, 3? We have a couple fire options, Perpetual Flame being really good, especially with all these 3 health pirates running around Wild, as well as I just threw in Blazing Invocation for just a second option. So that is 4, and the 5th one I went with was Shadow, which I believe has Haunting Visions, and if I just do a quick search... yeah, Big Bad Voodoo and Haunting Visions. With Haunting Visions is pretty much just like a discover and play for free kind of thing, like it sort of cycles itself. So I threw that in as well, and well, I guess we'll now get to the video I recorded, where I get this done in one try. Also forgive me for this segment, and during the main body of the video, I was and still am a little sick. So my voice was not up to its usual smooth, silky self, so sorry. Okay, let's get this last one. Well, we found Fire and Frost pretty quickly. Frost and Arcane being the 2 rarest ones. Given that this is probably going to be an aggro one, I'm going to hang on to Lightning Storm, even though there's a ton of nature spells in our deck. Ah, and there's Multicaster. Just gotta find an Arcane and a Shadow. There's not a lot of Shadow spells either. Oh, okay. None of these are great. I might need the healing. There's an Arcane, that's good. I'm gonna hold off for now. Okay, so we just need to find a Shadow spell from our deck. We'll be golden. Okay. Very appreciative for my opponent playing very slowly. Have they played any cards that are Wild exclusive yet? I'm gonna go ahead and assume that they can do a lot of attack stuff, so I'm just gonna go ahead and freeze their face. Okay, so I've played Fire, Frost. I don't think I've actually played a Nature yet. And I have a bunch in hand. It's no problem.
The sea floor be its own treasure.
Oh, that's a really bad one to pull from Claw Machine, because it just goes back to being a 1/3. Well, this is a nature spell, so let's go ahead and do this. There's Arcane. I'm in danger of killing them before they, before I hit this. I mean, I'll take a win. Okay. That slows things down. Ooh, they didn't even swing? What are you doing? Alright, there's nature. Alright. I have a 1 in 8 chance to find a shadow spell. 16 cards left. I think there's 2 in my deck.
Nature waits for no one but me.
Alright. Now what? You know, I actually could just, I think I did all 5. Oh, I gotta... This should be it.
Magic?
Tier 1.
I've heard of it.
Tier 2. Alright. We in there. Done with all the achievements in Stormwind. Feels good, man. Then we'll just go ahead and trade in 1, 2. What is this? Oh, that's bad.
The oceans turn and the heavens cry. None can withstand the Tempest.
Okay, I'm feeling good here. Feeling good that we got really lucky with this opponent.
Shattering flame. I can see.
I was expecting to lose horribly with this deck, but instead we got there. Well, folks, are you excited for a super satisfying spree of clicking all of these buttons for all these achievements that I have now completed? I know I am, so let's get to it. Probably not going to be doing too much talking during any of this because of all the sound effects going on, making it more difficult to hear. So I'm just going to enjoy this. I have completed every achievement from United in Stormwind. Should be getting a good little bit of gold for some of these. I think we can get 2 level ticks here, at least. Good old Quest Rogue. Crafted that like right at the last minute to get these done. Alright, there's 1 gold. What happened here? Part of it is lit up, part of it isn't. Weird little visual bug. Olner part 3. Big chunk of experience there. And then finally the neutral ones. I think we should end off on the secrets one to get that card back as well. I think we might get a 3rd tick of gold here because these give quite a bit of experience, these mystery ones. And the last one. That's an alright looking card back. Not my favorite, not my least favorite. Almost another tick of gold. And let us scroll up here. That is 100% complete. We did it, folks. We finished every achievement from United in Stormwind. It's been a real fun ride, overall. I kind of want to just take some time to go over my general thoughts for this achievement set when compared to the Barons one before that, which I did cover a lot, and then the Dark Moon Fair ones before that, which I didn't cover as much. Overall, it was an okay set. I think I preferred the overall achievement set of the Barons a little better because they gave us more, like, puzzle achievements. Those are the ones that are the most fun to me. The ones that require some kind of a crazy deck building stipulation or something, or some super specific combo, like the getting your board full of 7 Grim Patrons or Grimmist Patrons, whatever it was called from the Barons. And there were a bit less of those in this set. A lot of the achievements in this set kind of centered around play this one card, but a bunch of times. And occasionally there were stipulations to it, like the Proving Grounds one, needing both minions to survive, or yeah, no, there's a lot of just having different death rattles pop off with the Parrot one for Hunter. But for the most part, a lot of them are just like, play this card, you split the spells. Obviously, if you played it and you didn't have any choose one spells in your deck, like, that wasn't gonna work, but come on, that's not a real stipulation. And overall, I think I mentioned this in a previous video, but the number of legendaries that are straight up required when compared to the Baron's set, it was up by like, I want to say like 4 or 5 legendaries. It was a bit more expensive to get some of these done, especially for some of these that, while fun, this one was a little painful to have to craft this card just for this achievement. But we did it. I never dusted this card either. It's going to sit in my collection probably for forever. Like I think I also said one other time, if I haven't dusted Anomalist by now, I'm probably not dusting anything. But yeah, I'm hoping that the trend stops of requiring more and more legendaries. The Dark Moon Fair set was really bad. Like, it required a legendary from like each class basically, and then a bunch of the neutral ones as well, like all the old gods. That one was a bit rough, because as you can see, a lot of these ones that I haven't done yet are the Urel one, Sage, what's her name, Maxima, whatever her name was for Hunter. I did open Greybow, so I got that one, but you see a running theme. Il'gynoth here. All these ones that I haven't done for this set were the legendary ones, because I found it rather difficult and not super realistic to craft a legendary from every class to get these done. Thankfully, the Barons toned that down a lot, but they ticked it back up just a hair for this set. So I'm really hoping that that doesn't continue for this next set, and if it stays right around this level for required legendaries, I think that's generally fine. I did get really lucky, and a lot of the legendaries that I opened were the ones for achievements for the most part, like the Priest quest, the Warlock quest. A lot of those I just naturally opened, so that was really, really lucky on my part. But yeah, overall it was a fine set. There was nothing as atrocious as the Party Up achievement from the Barons. So overall it was fine, and we got it all done, which is pretty astounding. It's a goal I sort of set out for myself for the Barons set, but a goal I really wanted to achieve for this one, and I'm really glad that I did. So I guess the last thing I wanted to go over was just a couple superlatives for the achievement set, and kind of give my overall thoughts on some of my favorites and least favorites overall, if you'll humor me for a bit. First up, some of the grinds that finished super, super early, the really quick ones that honestly could have been a bit longer and still have been fine achievements. And the one that comes to mind is the one that I also forgot was an achievement until just now, which was, probably if we just scroll down, there's a bunch of these, like the 0 mana legendary dragon one, but I think the one overall, if I can find it, was simply to complete 50 quest lines. Let's see, I got that done September 1st. I don't remember when this set actually came out, but this was a joke of an achievement, basically. It's probably good that it was one. But honestly, this could have been 100, and I still would have completed it super, super early, and it would have been fine. This one could have been a lot more, and especially when you consider some of the numbers for some of the other achievement grinds, it's kind of shocking that this number is so low. So this one could have been longer. Also the tradable ones, like I finished these super, super quick, I feel like, especially the one for just trading, because it is so cheap. It's just a general 1 mana cost every time, and especially on some of the more specific achievements, I found myself trading a lot. So I don't know, it doesn't, some of these it tells you like if you have ticks over what was required, but I'd be really curious to see how many times I've actually traded. That one also could have been a lot longer, and it would have been a fine one. Still kind of crazy that it was one that ended up being worth a total of 700 experience before the before any XP boosts. But moving on, I want to move on to, like I said before, my favorite achievements are the ones that are more puzzle-based. So I want to talk about what my favorite puzzle based achievement was. And unfortunately, like I said before, there weren't too many of these. Our only real contenders for this are the Antonitis one for Mage, having all 3 fireballs hit your opponent to kill them, which I honestly got pretty lucky on when I got that done. But other than that, there weren't too many. I guess there were things like the 0 mana dragons ones, um, which had a couple different ways to get it done, but I got really lucky and got that one done pretty quickly. But I think with this card being printed in this set, there's no reason that, to give it to anything else aside from the Elwyn Boar's Sword of a Thousand Truths achievement. This one was really cool, and they gave this one to everyone for free on the rewards track, which was really, really rad. I had a lot of fun playing. I know there's slightly more consistent decks you can do it with, like Resurrect stuff with Priest and Beast cloning stuff with Hunter, but I did it with Demon Hunter, which was a little bit rough, but I enjoyed doing something like off meta, right? Because Elwyn Boar stuff is off meta to begin with, but nobody's running Boar Demon Hunter. So I had a lot of fun doing this one, and the meme is super good. This set like was really on point with some of the meme cards between this and like Maddest Bomber and the Golakka Glutton, the pirate that eats a beast rather than the crab that eats a pirate. So they nailed it with like the meme flavor, the self-referential Hearthstone stuff, and I guess technically the Sword of a Thousand Truths isn't, but yeah, still a really fun one. And then finally, I want to end things off on a negative note. I want to talk about what I think is the worst achievement in this set. Now, earlier I did mention that there is nothing in this set as atrocious as the Party Up achievement, the one that could potentially never get finished if you just get unlucky enough, which I seem to have done. So thankfully there's nothing quite on that level, but I also mentioned before that a lot of the numbers for the grinds were pretty high. Like if we go down to Warlock and look at the redirecting damage with Tamsin's quest, total of 666, took a lot of grinding, but only for about like 2 weeks or so for the most part to get this done. So while yes, it is a high number, it was also not super difficult to get it done. And there were a couple other ones like this. Despite how high this number looks, this one was super easy, especially after the mini set came out. But when I look through all these, I think the one that stands out to me as being the most atrocious was the Demon Hunter questline one. Reducing the cost by 1,000 took a lot of doing, and if you weren't playing like the Il'gynoth OTK, or like a super refined list, this was not a good deck. And unfortunately, I didn't want to craft some of the required legendaries for this, so I found myself struggling a lot. So part of it could be personal, as far as just me being bad at the game and bad at deck building and not wanting to spend resources. But on the other hand, 1,000 discounts is a lot, considering that like each tick, the first 2 ticks of the quest line, you're only guaranteed to get about 4 or 5, depending on how many cards you draw, discounting them by 1. And with the meta being as fast as it was, I often found myself times where I would complete it, get Kurtrus at hand, and then die the next turn. Or play him, or even not have an opportunity to play him to try to save my own life, and then die right after that. So there's a lot of things going against this deck. Like, you really had to survive long enough to make use of this in order to get those big ticks going on. And that was pretty hard for most of the set, making this one, in my opinion, the worst achievement of the set. But that is just my opinion, folks. What did you guys think of this set as a whole? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Can't wait for Alterac Valley. I know I can't. And so this is going to bring us to the end of this video and the end of this little set of videos for United in Stormwind. So there will be no video next week, but we'll be kicking it off again with some Alterac Valley stuff after that set comes out. I'm super excited. Once again, I'm super glad to have just a clean slate of achievements, knowing that I completely platinumed this set, so to speak. Feels really good, and I'm super happy. So anyway, thank you for watching this one, and for any of the other episodes that you may have watched. I greatly appreciate it. Leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, do all that stuff. It all helps me a lot. Follow me on Twitter and Twitch. As always, I'm Hey Tallman at both places. I'd love to see you at any of the socials. And with all that being said, for the last time in Stormwind, have a great day, Thank you for watching. May the card you need the most never be at the bottom of your deck.